We're holding in middle of Ois Gimel. Now, a short 5-minute clip will not do justice to the depth of the concepts which are discussed here in this perek, but we'll try our best. Yesterday we learned in general the difference between the two types of categories of understanding. Either I understand what it is, or by telling you what it's not, and what it's not, and what it's not, that gives me some type of understanding, kind of like the game 20 questions. So Chassidus explains that this idea, both of these ideas of understanding what it is and what it's not, can apply to Hashem as well. And to understand this, the Rebbe says, let's take a step back. When a person thinks and understands something, there are three players that are happening. Number one, there's the person himself who is doing the understanding. Number two, there's his brain, which thinks through the concept. And number three, there's the concept that he's understanding, the intellectual piece. If it's a Gemara or any other learning that he's doing, he's understanding it. The Rambam says that by Hashem, these three things, which by a person are separate, by Hashem they all come together. They're all as one. And that's not something which, with our minds, we can understand how that works, but that's how it works by Hashem. And with that, the Rambam is explaining why is it that when Hashem knows something, it's not that he's knowing it from outside of him, it's not that he needs somebody else to know it, because by Hashem, the knowledge himself and the brain, so to speak, is all one. However, there are those who disagree with the Rambam. For example, the Maharal Miprag, he disagrees with the Rambam and says that we can't use these words that Hashem is the knower, Hashem knows, Hashem is the thing which is being known. Those are the words the Rambam uses. The Maharal says you cannot use those words by Hashem. And the reason why you can't use those words by Hashem is because knowledge and understanding is a creation. And Hashem is above creation. Hashem is creator. You can't use any of the descriptions that we know to describe Hashem, because those are all creations. Therefore, he disagrees with the Rambam. Chassidus says that yes, the Maharal is correct to some extent, that Hashem is beyond all of these things and they are creations. Hashem is the one who made them. They're not actually Hashem himself. However, you still can't say that this knowledge of Hashem is a complete creation like the rest of the creations we know in the world. And the reason for that is because then he's knowing, again, from a creation. He's knowing from something which is outside of himself. Rather, the way it works is Hashem created wisdom, but then Hashem encloses himself within wisdom and becomes one with the knowledge and becomes one with the wisdom. Kind of like a neshama, the way it comes down into our body. Even though it's true the neshama and the body are separate, distinct entities, they're not the same. Nevertheless, when they come together, they become one. The neshama operates and works through the body. And that's the same, says the Tzemach Tzedek, with all descriptions in davening. When we talk to Hashem, when we describe Hashem, davening is to Hashem himself. Davening is not to creations. I'm not davening to kindness of Hashem, which is a creation. I'm davening to Hashem himself, the way he comes down into kindness. So that's the idea of chiyuvim. That's the idea of what we said yesterday in understanding of I know exactly what it is. When Hashem lowers himself into something, into kindness, into wisdom, I can actually understand it. And I can get some type of description of it. I have the idea of the toyar chiyuvi, the one that I actually know. But in a higher level of God's light, which is called Seviv Kol Almin, the light which surrounds and encompasses the worlds, the example given in Chassidus is like the sun shining. The sun doesn't really care where it's shining. It doesn't care if you're taking the energy in a solar panel into the ground, if you're a palace, if you're a garbage dump. The sun doesn't care, the sun is shining. So there's a level of Hashem similar to that, where Hashem just shines without caring where he's shining to. It's called Seviv Kol Almin. Hashem is surrounding the world. Over there, I can't understand what it actually is. I can't get a good description of what Hashem is doing. Over there, I need the concept of Yediyas HaShlila. I need the concept that I can say, well, he's not this and he's not that. He's so smart, as we said yesterday, that he gets everything. He doesn't get fooled by this and he doesn't get fooled by that. And I can't really describe what he is. That's applicable when it comes to Seviv Kol Almin. However, that is still a level of Hashem when Hashem lowers himself to the worlds. There is a level of Hashem, or it's not a level, there's Hashem's essence, where in Hashem's essence there's no descriptions. You can't say yes and you can't say no. There's no can and there's no cannot. There's nothing and everything at the same time. Like the example brought in Chassidus is, Hashem at that level could take an elephant, the way he's an elephant, the way it's an elephant, and put it through the hole of a needle, the way the hole stays the hole of a needle. And as the story of two Chassidim were trying to discuss different levels of Hashem, and as soon as one tried to talk about Hashem's essence, the other Chassid told him, you can't say anything. There's a certain level where there's nothing. You can't describe anything. He's beyond and above even not understanding, even the Yediyas HaShlila. So that's what it means when the Rebbe said, when the Frierdiker Rebbe said in his Maimer that Hashem is above even the parameters, the ability for us to understand. He can't even get to that level where you're able to understand it. And that goes back to our question, why do we need, and we asked in the beginning, why do I need shtus to kedusha, the folly of kedusha, to make a dira betachtonim? The answer is because Hashem's essence is entirely higher than the parameters, than the categories of understanding. Therefore, I cannot grasp Hashem with anything other than with folly. And the Rebbe ends off that since this is something which is not seichel, it's not intellect, it's not something which is dependent on my keiches, therefore it's something everyone can do. It takes a little bit of insanity in kedusha to reach Hashem's essence.